I got my undergrad in biology, and while I was doing biology, I've always been artistic and have always drawn throughout my life. Um, but in college, I took the biology route. I didn't do the art thing because I wanted to maybe eventually into medicine or science, whatever. But during that time, I started drawing scientific illustrations for a graduate student, and my advisor saw that I was enjoying that. Like, it's a nice balance between the science and the art. And he goes, have you ever considered medical illustration? And I had never heard of that, which most people don't really know about medical illustration. So I started looking into it, and I was like, this is like the perfect career for me because it's what I love, like the science and the art. So after college, I took a year off and started building my portfolio, and I applied to UIC, Chicago, 'cause that's one of the programs, and Johns Hopkins, and I ended up going to UIC, which was perfect because it's right. I live in Chicago, so it's perfect. My first year of being in the program, I started street anatomy, precisely because I wanted to educate people about medical illustration. I was tired of telling people I was going to school for medical illustration and kind of getting that blank stare. So it became hard to write these regular, like, long posts. So in between, to kind of fill in the gaps, I would post really cool anatomical art that I would see either here in Chicago or online. And I started to realize that people started responding a lot more to that anatomical art than they did to my, probably long, boring posts about medical illustration. So I kind of went with that, and I started posting more and more and trying to find more artists who use anatomy in their work. And the blog just kind of like skyrocketed from there. And it was really one of the first blogs to kind of feature anatomical art. And there's some more today, but really street anatomy is really the only one that focuses on anatomy and art and pop culture. So 5 years later, now I've turned it into like an online store, and I do gallery shows. So I've kind of taken it outside of the blog world, and I even hate calling it a blog sometimes because it's more of like just a robust website. In pharmaceutical advertising, we're dealing constantly with complex information, so healthcare data, lots of clinical data, and we have to take all that and reinterpret it for doctors and for patients, to very different audiences. So we're constantly having to take that and simplify it through beautiful visuals. So a lot of the work that I did was through iPad apps. We would make apps for reps to go into doctors' offices to sell the drug.
Okay.
In the past, reps used to go into doctors' offices and give away little tchotchkes and gifts and kind of try to bribe the doctor to, take their drug samples and all that. But since the FDA did away with all of that, you can no longer give gifts of any sort. They're relying more on education, so educating the doctor about the drug, how the drug works, the efficacy of it, the safety. So we put all that information into an iPad app, and we make a story out of it. So instead of just showing a simple line graph or a boring bar chart, we extract that data and turn it into an infographic or an animation or something more interesting and engaging for the doctor. We even make it so that the reps will hand the iPad to the doctor and have them play with it.
Yeah.
And any second that the rep can gain from the doctor is so valuable for them, because a lot of doctors will just kick these reps out of the office and, I don't have time for you and all that. So that's kind of where it came about. So we thought it'd be great to teach other people our process and how we were successful at it. Our goal really is to reach a lot of people. I'm speaking as street anatomy as the art side, and Tristan is speaking more on the creative director side.
Okay.
So people in advertising, especially in pharmaceutical advertising or any sort of technical field, would greatly benefit. But I think any designer is going to benefit from our talk. Especially, my goal is to give them a different way to visualize how to turn complex information into simplicity. through my background, which I'm hoping people will find interesting. um, I'm looking forward to a lot of inspiration. I think now, especially now that I've gone off on my own as kind of an entrepreneur almost, I am so interested in hearing from people that have succeeded, how they've done it, um, tips and tools and tricks of the trade. Like I'm just ready to kind of like absorb everything.